Thinking of offering employee stock options to your employees, or just received an ESOP grant letter and wondering what it really means. So this video is your one-stop guide to understanding employee stock option grant letter, its key components, performance indicators, and the essential annexures that accompany it. So what to expect? So we will walk you through what an ESOP grant letter typically includes and the role of vesting schedules, performance conditions, and all critical annexures like acceptance letter, nomination form, exercise form, vesting schedule, and more. So whatever you are an HR professional or startup founder or an employee, this video is tailored for you. Why these ESOPs matters? In today's competitive world, employee stock options are more than just stock options. They are strategic tool to retain talent and the reward performance. But to ensure legal clarity and visual understanding, a well-drafted grant letter with the proper annexures is the key. Stay till the end for real examples of performance indicators that companies are now linking to employee stock options. So the vesting schedule. So you should be familiar with the terminologies. See, vesting schedule specifies the timeline over which the options will vest. Example like 25% each year. So over a period of 4 years. That is the vesting schedule. This is an example. And exercise procedure. So how the exercise procedure will be. So details on how and when the employee can exercise vested options. After vesting, exercise will start. Terms and conditions. This includes clauses like non-transferability, where ESOPs cannot be transferred. Termination implications. What would be the implication if an employee is terminated? Restrictions during the notice period. If the employee has given notice period for resignation. So all these terms and conditions shall be drafted. Performance metrics. So KPIs, key performance indicators, or performance goals linked to vesting certain options. So ESOPs linked with the performance goals. Form for exercising options. So a standard format should be supplied to the employees to exercise vested options. And confidentiality and non-complete declarations. These are all optional. So companies are adding retention or non-compete clause tied to ESOPs. Then performance indicators that can be linked to ESOPs. So I'll give you an example. So what type of performance indicator shall be linked to the employees with ESOPs? So individual performance metrics. It may be individual, it may be a team, it may be a department goals, it may be company-wide metrics, it may be leadership or strategic goals. These are all examples. So individual performance metrics. Achievement of sales or revenue targets. You achieve this, your ESOPs will be vested. Or client acquisition. So NRC can keep on target like a client acquisition or retention goals or project completion milestones. Complete this project, then the ESOPs will be vested. So these are all linked, performance linked ESOPs. And team or department goals. We can give this goal to one complete department, like product development within timelines and targets, and within timelines and budgets, or innovation targets like patent filings or new feature rollouts. Or we can say company-wide metrics like EBITDA growth or profitability targets, or market share increase, or successful funding or like IPO, successful funding round or IPO, completion of IPO, or reduction in employee attrition. And another target like leadership or strategic roles, new market expansion, so further expansion, or succession planning and team development. Regulatory or audit committee milestones like this is for legal team or secretarial team. These are all performance linked, ESOPs linked with the performance. And I'll show you the covering letter for grant letter. So this is a covering letter. This will be on the letterhead of the company. So date will be written and to so and so employee. So employee name and his designation, his or designation and employee code will be written. Then subject is granting of employee stock option ESOP under dash scheme. So you can write your company name 2025. So this is the option of the company. Company can decide the name. And dear employee, the nomination remuneration committee, that is called compensation committee. So NRC will be designated as a compensation committee. That is a mandatory. So compensation committee of dash company, write your company name. Please to invite you to participate in the dash ESOP scheme. So give one name for ESOP scheme. This scheme is designed to reward and align the interest of your valued employees. This is addressed to employee, fostering a culture of shared growth and achievement. The options to be vested under this scheme are preliminarily linked into performance of the employees. So ESOPs we are giving with the link with the performance of the employees. So our growth journey has just begun and we are strongly believe in the company's future plans. As it is a startup company, we are drafting this. Accordingly, it can be changed. We trust that you share this belief and will continue to give your best efforts towards achieving our collective goals. After all, this is a collaborative endeavor and success depends on our unified efforts as a team. As we work together to create a value for the company, the value of these options will continue to grow in the years ahead. So this is a covering letter we are giving to the employee. Once again, we are pleased to have you as a valued member of the family, you write company name, and we look forward to continuing this partnership for many more years to come. So by virtue of this scheme, you are being offered employee stock options convertible into equity shares of the company pursuant to the provisions of Companies Act 2013 and rules made thereunder and in accordance with the SEBI share-based employee benefit and sweat equity regulations 2021. Because this is for listed companies and proposed to be listed companies, SEBI will come into the picture. These options will vest over the next 4 years or 3 years or 5 years. This is vesting schedule depends on the company. Company can take a decision subject to continuous employment with the company and based on the performance parameters as laid out in the grant letter. So the details of the number of options granted, vesting date, exercise price, manner of exercising the options, and other terms and conditions are in detail given in the Form 1, which is attached with this covering letter. Form 1 is a grant letter. So the offer shall lapse if not accepted by the employee on or before of the closing date mentioned in the Form 1. So the acceptance date shall be mentioned. So the employee has to accept on or before the date through the prescribed form, which will be attached with this. So if the offer is acceptable to you, kindly sign the acceptance form enclosed as Form 2 in token of your acceptance. So we are supplying Form 2 also. So you are requested to study the scheme and other disclosures documents provided to you carefully and familiarize yourself with this scheme and related disclosure documents. So with this covering letter, we are giving all the annexures like the grant letter and acceptance form and nomination form and exercise form and all the for the terms and conditions. We are also attaching the scheme, and it will be signed by the chairman of nomination remuneration committee, compensation committee. So company name here we have to write and is a DIN number and chairman of the committee. Place date will be written. Now I'll explain the grant letter. As of now, I explained the covering letter. Now we'll go to the grant letter. Grant letter, we have to write the name in full, employee name, and employee code, and grant details. So total options granted, total number of options, and grant date. Grant date is the date on when the grants are approved in the nomination remuneration committee, and date for acceptance of grant. So here we will give 30 days time. So we advise to apply on or before you accept this. Then vesting details. So vesting options, it depends. Now NRC can take a decision. If it is vesting for 4 years, you can write 4 years. I'll give you an example. Like 30% in first year we are offering 30%, second year 20%, third year again 30%, fourth year again 40%. So total 100%. Or 25% each year, 25, 25, 25, 25, 4 years. It depends on NRC can take a decision. I'll give you an example. Suppose first 30%. Vesting date, minimum vesting date is 1 year. First year, you are giving a 30%. So after 1 year, minimum vesting period as per the law, it is mandated for 1 year. So first year, if you are giving 30%, then we can say performance criteria also you have to link. So the vesting period will be, now we are at 2025 May. So we can give like 1st July 2026. That is the first year vesting period, 30%. Second year vesting period, we can say 2027 1st July. That is 20%. And third year, you can say like 30% again. Then 2028, 1st July 2028. Again, the remaining is 20%. You can say that 29, 2029, 1st July 2028. Like this, you can give the vesting percentage options, or you can give either percentage or number of options. And date also you can specify, vesting date. And performance criteria. So we have discussed just the performance criteria as either individually as a team. So whatever you are linking, that can be written here. NRC will take a decision on this. Then exercise details. So once this is vested, so employee is getting the right. So grantee is getting the right to exercise. So once vesting, that is the starting date, commence date for exercise the options. So total number of options just we discussed. So we can say either number of options you write or percentage also you can write 30%, 20%, 30%, 20% like, or 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, 4 years. And the exercise price, if we are going for IPO, you can keep as IPO price or you can keep as a face value. Completely depends on the company. Take a decision. Exercise commencement date, the date when it is vested, that is the commencement of the exercise date. We just gave an example like 1st July 2026, first year, second day 1st July 2027, third year 1st July 2028, fourth year 1st July 2029. Like that, you can write your choice. Exercise expiry date. Exercise for exercise commencement date I don't, and we have to give some time. So generally companies will give, some companies will give 2 months, some companies will give 2 years, some companies will 1 year. So this is also completely the option of the NRC can take a decision. So suppose exercise commencement date 1st July 2026, I said. So you are giving the exercise the period for 2 years, then we can say the expiry date is 1st July 2028 because we are giving 2 years. During the 2 years, the employee can exercise based on his availability of funds. So term and conditions. So herein, after the employee to whom the grant letter is issued shall be referred as a grantee. So the employee whom the company is giving a letter, the employee is called as a grantee. So the options granted are personal to the grantee, cannot be transferred in any manner whatsoever other than in accordance with the clause of the scheme. So once the grant letter is given to the grantee cannot transfer to any other person because this is a personal, he can't transfer. ESOP shall not be transferred. So each option will entitle the participant to 1 equity shares. One option, 1 equity shares. 100 options, 100 equity shares, example. So options issued to the grantee shall always be convertible into equity shares. So grantee, there is employee who wishes to accept an offer made must deliver duly filled acceptance form enclosed as form 2. So the grantee has to, if he is willing to accept, he has to accept on or before the date given and sign accordingly and submit to the company. Submit at the registered office of the company, address to the following officer of the company. On to here it will be mentioned the address to whom it has to be submitted to so and so officer, either company secretary, compliance officer, or nomination committee chairman, and so and so company and email ID. So the grantee shall mention his or her name, address, and other requisite details in acceptance form. So grantee who fails to return the acceptance form on or before the closing date is deemed to have rejected. Acceptance form received after the closing date shall not be valid So options granted shall vest on the aforementioned vesting dates. Grantee shall not have a right to receive any dividend, any voting, or in any manner enjoy the benefits of the shareholder in respect of the options granted to him. These are only options, not equity. Only after vesting and after exercise, then he will get right of vote or right of dividend. So till the equity shares of the company are issued on exercise of the options, so the grantee will not have any dividend or vote. Subsequent to vesting date, grantee shall exercise. So on its own, it will not shares will not be allotted. Subsequent to vesting, grantee shall exercise the of before the exercise, before expiry of the exercise period. So the grantee has to exercise the vesting options. There are 3 stages: granting, vesting, exercise. So for the purpose of the exercise, the grantee must deliver duly filled the exercise form, enclosed form 3. Here we are supplying exercise form in writing along with the exercise price. The price will be decided by NRC, that is either face value or IPO value or 20 rupees or 30 rupees or 10 rupees. So that will be decided by the NRC, that is per option, by enclosing a cross check or demand draft. Sorry. Because along with the exercise form, the grantee has to attach the check for exercising, because exercise price has to be paid. Whether he can pay the check or demand draft on the company name, or he can do NIFT, or he can do RTGS, or he can do IMPs. This has to be before the respective exercise dates. So the compensation committee shall verify and accordingly communicate to the employee about the valid exercise. Shares issued pursuant to the exercise of the options under scheme will not be locked in. Suppose if there is no lock-in, then we will say that we will not be locked in. If companies still want to keep any lock-in, this is not mandatory. This is not mandatory. But company has option. NRC will take a decision. So each grantee under the scheme may nominate any beneficiary or beneficiaries to whom any benefit under the scheme is to be delivered in case of his or her death before he or she receives all of such benefit by delivering nomination form. We are also supplying nomination form. In case of any unforeseen situation like death of employee, then he shall submit. He shall submit the nomination form along with the acceptance letter and submit at the registered office of the company to the concerned officer mentioned here. So for other terms and conditions relating to the eligibility employees, administration of the scheme, so many doubts will be come to the employee. So he has to go through the scheme. So like the doubts like relating to the eligibility, administration of the scheme, granting of option, method of acceptance, vesting options, or exercise price, exercise option of the employment, notices and correspondence, nomination, transferability, non-transferability. So these options, corporate actions, arbitration, regulatory approvals, accounting method and methodic valuation, miscellaneous provisions, modification of the scheme, and terms of the scheme. Employees are requested to study and familiarize with the scheme and related disclosures provided you. So entire scheme will be supplied to employee along with the grant letter. So you can go through, will familiarize with all these terminologies. In case of any clarification, so please contact so-and-so officer, concerned officer, phone number will be given. And the statement of risks, what are the risks? As per the regulations, we should mention the statement of risk also in the grant letter. So all the investments in shares, options are subject to risk as the value of shares may go down or go up in the share market. So in addition to the options are subject to following additional risks. So concentration risk, leverage risk, illiquidity, and vesting. So what is concentration? Because entire investment is in one company, there is a concentration risk. Leverage, any change in the value of the shares can lead to significantly larger change in the value of the options. And illiquidity, options cannot be transferred before they are exercised. And vesting, the options will lapse if the employment is terminated prior to the vesting. And even after the options are vested, unexercised option be forfeited if the employee terminated for gross of misconduct. So these are all the risk factors. Information about the company has to be given along with the grant letter. So business of the company, a small description, the main objects and present business of the company should be given. And abridged financial information has to be given. 5 years abridged financial information, which is the audited financial information is available. You can annex with this grant letter. And risk factors, management perception of the risk factors for the company to be mentioned. Examples like sensitivity to foreign exchange. This is the one risk factor because of the rate fluctuations. Difficulty in availability of raw material, another risk factors. Or marketing of products, another risk factors, and cost to time, overall, etc. These are all the risk factors shall be mentioned in the grant letter as per the regulation. So continuing disclosure requirements. The grantee shall be provided a copies of all the documents. The grantee will be provided all the documents which are sending to the members of the company. So he will not get any dividend or any voting rights, but he will get annual accounts of the company as well as notices of the meetings and the accompanying explanatory statements. So grantee will get this. Salient features of the scheme has to be given in the grant letter. So that salient features include the brief description of the scheme. The example like a growth scheme, we are giving a scheme aims to align the employees. See the efforts we value and also attracting new talent. So to facilitate this, we propose implementing the scheme to be implemented and administered by the compensation committee. So few something. So describe about the scheme and class of the employees. If you are selecting a new employees, write new employees, and even if as well as existing employees, so we can write new employees as well as the employees who have contributed to the growth of the company in the past. So this is a class of employees entitled to participate in the benefit and by beneficiaries in the scheme. So that description has to be given. Grant price, if you are giving a proposed IPO price, you can write, or we can say that face value, or you can say that 25 rupees. So whatever is there, that grant price, because it is ESOPs are predetermined price. So we have to give grant price. Vesting schedule, I give you an example for 4 years, period of 4 years. You can say first year 25, second year 25, third year 25, fourth year 25, or you can say first year 30, second year 20%, third year 30%, fourth year 20%. So total 100%. So 100% of the ESOPs, it will be divided in year wise. Vesting period will be divided year wise. So this is what we can give in detail. Price, exercise price. So exercise price once vested, once exercise period, once vested, what is the period of that period given to the employee for exercise? It will be given either 2 years or 2 months or 1 year. So whatever is there, that can be written. And the exercise price, we are saying either IPO price or 10 rupees, whatever is written by NRC. And vesting conditions, we just discussed what would be the vesting conditions, performance conditions. You can link the performance with the ESOPs. And locking period, this is the decision of the company, that is the decision of the NRC. So we can keep locking either 6 months or 1 year. It is not mandatory without proceeding for ESOPs. So for scheme is also annexed with the annexes and can also be accessed as the website of the company. All annexes also will be kept in the website of the company. So grantee can visit the websites and it will be signed by the chairman of nomination remuneration committee, his DIN number and place. And this is what I discussed about the grant letter. First I discussed about the covenant letter, then grant letter. Now I'll explain about the acceptance of the form. So the grantee has to accept within the timeline given in the grant form. So here he will give the acceptance like a date, his name, his or her name, designation, employee code. He will address to the nomination remuneration committee or compensation committee. And dear sir, this is with reference to grant letter for offering ESOPs dated, issued, because he's referring the ESOP grant letter and dated under the so-and-so scheme, under the so-and-so company. I have read the terms and conditions stipulated in the grant letter, the scheme and other related disclosure documents. So I accept. So accepting, grant is accepting. I accept and wish to subscribe. So how many number of employee stock options you want to subscribe? Whether you want to subscribe 100% or you want to subscribe 50% is your choice, because this is not mandatory. This is options or option. This is only option to the employee. So he will write the how many options he want to accept. Then I undertake to be bound by the terms and conditions of the scheme and other related disclosure documents, which I confirm that I have understood fully. This is the form of the acceptance. This will be supplied to the grantee along with the grant letter. So then your faithfully signature, name, designation, address, phone number, email ID, and self-attested PAN and self-attested Aadhaar of the grantee. And note, henceforth, any correspondence required to be made by the company or compensation committee shall be given to at the address, mail, phone number mentioned here. So because if company wants to communicate, so this address company will communicate. If any change in the further change in the address or mail and phone number, so that employee grantee can be communicated to the nomination remuneration committee. This is what the acceptance letter, which will be supplied to the grantee at the time of the grant letter. Then also supply exercise form. So employee should have the exercise form. So this is a standard format for all the employees. This will be given to the grantee at the time of grant letter, along with the grant letter. So the exercise form is like this: date, form, from so employee, designation, and employee code, and address to the nomination remuneration committee, that is compensation committee, and the company name and company address. And the exercise of subject is exercise of employee stock options granted under so scheme. So the moment the moment ESOPs are listed, then that will be the commencement date for the exercise, and he is having an exercise sufficient period. So during the period, the employee will submit this exercise form to the NRC. NRC with reference to the above mentioned, we can straight away take all the eligible exercise, all the listed options, or we can take even partially also. With reference to the above mentioned subject, I wish to inform you that I have been granted so many employee stock options under so scheme, why so grant letter. Thereafter, I have submitted my acceptance form also on so date, giving my acceptance and consent to subscribe so many employee stock options. So all the details will be again referred. In this regard, I herewith exercise my right to convert number of employee stock options. You have to fill the number out of my options vested. So out of 100, today I'm exercising 25, like that example. So vested to me in accordance with the vesting schedule mentioned in the scheme. So this is what has to be filled by the employee and to be submitted to the NRC, nomination remuneration committee. So I am furnishing this required information regarding the exercise, subscription, and the payment details in this connection. And we are talking about the personal details. He has to fill the personal details like name of the employee and address of the and income tax and PAN details and email address and phone numbers. So the grant and vesting exercise details also has to be given. So total options granted and options vested and options exercise. All these details has to be given because options granted will be some figure, options vested will be some figure because every year gradually it will be vested. Options exercise will be a different because he may take all vested options or he may take partial option. So payment details. So how many amount is paying? Subscription for at per share per option it will be 25 rupees or 10 rupees. It will be decided. No, it is a predetermined. So whether if it is a check details, if it is a DD details, and the name of the bank and amount and total amount. So all the details has to be filled in the exercise form and sign. Give details of your name, designation, address, and phone number, email ID, and enclose your Aadhaar and PAN self-attested, and submit to the NRC. This is what the NRC. This is what the exercise form. So we have discussed about the covering letter. We have discussed about the grant letter. We have discussed about the exercise letter. We have discussed about the NRC nomination letter. We have discussed about the acceptance letter. Now we will explain you about the nomination form. So we also told to fill a nomination form in case of any unfortunate like death of any grantee. So at the time of grant acceptance letter, so he shall submit a nomination form. So the format is like a date from so employee name and employee code and addressing to the nomination committee and company name and address in respect of the options to be exercised by me under so scheme of the so company. I hereby appoint my nominee in accordance with the clause of the scheme. Here he has to fill the details of the employee and nominee name he has to write and full name and relationship, whether he is father or mother or a daughter or son or wife or husband. So whatever the relationship and address of the nominee. And yours faithfully, signature, name of the employee, designation, address, phone, and email, and self-attested Aadhaar PAN and attested Aadhaar PAN of the other PAN details of the nominee also. This is what the entire details of the covering letter and grant letter, how the grant letter will be, and all enclosures we have explained. Along with the enclosures, we also supply the scheme and we also give the website details. So employee we can visit the website of the company And call to action is don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated on all our videos related to the corporate compliance, finance, and the legal documentation. Don't forget to subscribe RR Corporate's channel, YouTube channel. We have other channel, RR Legal Talks. So request to subscribe RR Corporates and RR Legal Talks for further videos related to corporate compliance, finance, and legal documents. Thank you.